Hey, and we are live. Just checking my mic levels. Do I sound okay? Welcome to my Saturday morning stand-up. Thanks for stopping by. I just happened to be at the point this morning where I was claiming my daily chests, so I just figured I'd leave them up and open them on the stream. So let's just go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and get into the weekly happenings and go from there. Open the discussion up. Let's see here. Some potions, some merits, point 0.1 splinter shards. Oh, it's shaking. It's shaking, bacon. Oh, I'm used to Celine. This is an interesting card. Hey, Gathering. Good morning. Thanks. Thanks for clarifying. So this looks like a potentially really good card. I still have to improve my scavenger gameplay. I know that I've used a few of the different newer scavenger cards, and they can be powerful placed correctly. Usually, I place mine in that 5th position to work their strength up by the time they make it up front, if they do. But this looks like it promises to be a really nice card. Yeah, I think you have to kind of tailor your hand around scavenger, and I haven't wrapped my head completely around the best rule sets to use scavenger, but obviously I think that they go best in that 4th or 5th slot, but still have to play around with it. This looks like a potentially really good card. More potions, fire collars, a few more merits, a pack. Nice. I'll not turn down a pack. And some Swamp Spitters, another card I like. So, yeah, I'm going to do a pack opening video later. I'm not going to do it live on air this morning. If you've been with me for a while, you know I kind of allot myself a $25 allowance per week to spend on the game. And this week, due to a few videos I watched, I went in and I actually bought some packs. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining. Yeah, so I went in and let's see here. I bought 5 Rift Watchers packs off the secondary market. So in a video later, I'm going to open up some Chaos Legion packs, some Rift Watcher packs, and it looks like I have 6 Gladius cases to open as well. I don't know if I have enough points to get another one. Oh, my brawls are open now, so have to do those later on as well. So I have enough to buy another Gladius case. So I'll do that. Yeah, I'm just taking care of some basic stuff this morning. This kind of surprised me. Let's go ahead and obviously the big thing this week for me was Wasner. And Gathering says, love Rift Watchers, such a slept-on set. Great long-term hold, I think. Almost no one is holding them. Yeah, at the time Rift came out, some people jumped on it, but I was trying to get my Chaos Legion summoners to level 6, okay? Because that's max level for gold. I generally play in Diamond. Well, let me restate that. Archmage plays in Diamond for me for the most part, but I do play games from, and I do play my my guild brawls and such. And I think due to the way that they're bought, now we have the secondary market, much easier to go in and buy them, right? But due to the way you have to buy DEC and then go in and buy them and have vouchers as well, I think that makes the curve a little bit harder for new people to the game. That whole back in the day, we all had to overcome it, right? But now it's getting a little bit easier in the fact that you can just go in and you can buy credits and then go into the secondary market and, buy the card packs you want. And I figured it out, and it was a little bit cheaper at the time, too, to just buy them off the secondary market. There's been a few people this week that have mentioned, and I know that Dwayne even did a big pack opening. Well, big, 50-plus packs. To me, that's a lot. Like I said, I bought 5 packs with my allowance this week. So I do like the cards. The majority of the cards, I haven't taken an in-depth look at the set yet, but the cards I do have, and especially most of the summoners appear to be really strong. So, but the big thing, let's go to the Splinterlands Town Hall, and there wasn't a whole lot this week. I mean, it was long. It was 2 hours plus long, probably, and I think they need to shorten them up. But there wasn't a whole lot of information in such a long time that they spent talking about it. So let's just go ahead and go over it. I think the big thing to me this week was Wasner and the association with Wasner opening up. I went ahead and jumped in and started posting different things, and I'm not a big social media guy. I mean, obviously I'm on doing YouTube videos and such, but I don't spend a lot of my day on social media. But this appears to be an interesting piece of media where gamers can get on there, and I do think that it is promoting the game well. So I see that on Wasder they were giving out spell books. So I mean, hey, that's $10 worth right there. If you were thinking about joining the game, free $10, right? Makes it very easy to get into the game. Now, I don't have a whole lot of information on these other games they mentioned possible partnerships with, so we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on those going forward. But I did jump into Wasder, and I even put out an ad, for this live stream about 20 minutes ago. Gathering says the more gaming communities we get the game in front of, the better. Yeah, I agree. I also think that their push to make it easier for the new player experience is primary. And they're doing a lot of good work, but I really think that they need to... It's tough. It's the cryptocurrency wall, or it's tough to get a person that's used to regular game. Hey, I'm going to get in and I'm going to use my charge card, or I'm going to use some other method that's easy to buy something, right? And get into the game, versus having to jump through several hurdles. Sorry, my phone was on. To actually buy something in the game. You know what I mean. You have to go in to one market, buy cryptocurrency, transfer it to another market, or transfer it to a wallet, and then, say, for instance, go to your other Hive Engine wallet, and then, excuse me, sell it, and then buy another currency and everything. And I was kind of happy whenever I saw the fact that... Okay, so let's go in. We're on the SPS page. If we go in, and I was kind of happy when I saw Transact was offering this direct currency transfer, but then I used it once and then it stopped working. And the show notes, last week the team said they got it up and running, but it hasn't been up and running for me. Actually, that week where Vruz was dropped, I wanted to go in and I wanted to buy a little bit more SPS and directly stake it. Unable to. So, but I mean, if they could get something like this back, and I know this is kind of a maligned service, there appears to be some bad opinions about it on the different communities, but it seemed this kind of service will make it easier for new players to come in. So, for instance, what I think the main thing I'm referring to now is we're getting ready to go through the big changeover of staking SPS required, right? So if you're new to the game, I mean, at this point, the game has been based upon, the leagues have been based upon having certain amount of card power in your collection. And then you can rise. If you have X amount of card power, you can rise to the next league. Well, this has been proven to be abused. So they came up with a better system in that they're going to now require a certain amount of SPS to be staked per league. Now, they haven't announced, obviously what those values are per league yet. There's been several people making videos that have kind of guessed, making educated guesses, but they haven't announced it. But going forward, whenever that goes live, you'll have to have a certain amount of SPS staked. That is an initial hurdle that a new player will have to overcome. Okay? So if I'm a new guy and I come into the game and I start playing, I buy the spell book, and then I find, well, you can't really earn anything with just the spell book, right? You have to start buying cards, and you also have to stake a certain amount of SPS in the game to play in bronze. And then you have to stake more SPS to play in silver, etc. Well, my next question is, well, how do I buy that SPS? Well, now, as of now, the traditional answer is go into a market, buy it, transfer it to your Hive Engine wallet, and then buy your SPS and then transfer it into game. Well, that's a huge hurdle. It's not necessarily, I mean, even for a guy who I was used to working with cryptocurrency, it was still a hurdle for me to overcome to get into the game. And I think that is the biggest hurdle that the team is going to have to overcome to make this game appeal to a wider audience. Be what it may. I mean, they've done a lot of good work on the game. Look at how far, I don't know how long you guys have been playing, but look at how far this game has come just in the last couple years. The interface is a lot better. The user interface is a lot better. There's a lot more aspects to the game. Land is a lot more fleshed out. We have a lot better tournaments. We have a lot better marketing going on as far as pushing the tournaments, having almost 24/7, they say 24/7 coverage on Splinterlands TV. There's a lot going into the game currently, and they're doing it with a smaller team than what they had last year. So kudos to them, but I still think that push to get more, make it a wider appeal game relies upon overcoming the hurdle of making it easier to buy and sell SPS and DEC. Until that's overcome, you're going to be limited to a bunch of people that come into the game and get spell books, and then they buy a few things, and then they figure out, well, I don't really even know how to buy SPS or whatever. So they watch some videos and they figure it out, but a certain percentage of them are just going to say, I'm not going to do it, and throw up their hands and leave. So anyway, kind of on a tangent. Let's go back to let me take a drink. Talking a lot. So they mentioned again that Soulkeep is officially live in beta. Of course, we talked about that last week. To be in that beta, it required 500 packs, which is quite a decent amount of money, more than $2,000 US. So I was not in on those. Focus on retention and acquisition to bring in Web 2 users, what we were just talking about, as far as the hurdles, getting people through the crypto hurdles, as it were. And this is, Gathering says, why don't they have an option to convert credits to SPS? Would make it a lot simpler to acquire SPS. I agree. And I'm not 100% on this, but I think this involves some kind of regulation, very similar to kind of banking regulations. They can't do certain things, and I'm not going to speak to that because I'm not 100%. But I know I think there are some rules in place. So the credits are kind of like any other game you go into and you buy a credit, right? You can use that for certain things. It's not a cryptocurrency, and I think that that is borderline. I don't think it's borderline. I think it is falls under regulations, some type of online banking regulation, something that says as a game you can't do certain things. So, and I'll leave that open because that would require a little bit more investigation, but it would be interesting. I do agree with you that if we could just buy it in game using, our credit cards or whatever, that would overcome that hurdle. But once again, that goes back to this, where this is basically them inserting a secondary service in there. So when you use the Transact, which is a secondary banking type service, they charge your card for whatever, $50 or whatever you're using, and then they buy Hive, and then that Hive is converted directly to SPS, or in the case of DEC. Now, I think that DEC was working, so the Transact bridge for SPS or for DEC is working. So theoretically, you could buy DEC and then exchange it on Hive Engine for SPS. And I had thought about that, but you know as well as I do, there's a few different layers of fees there. So 5% here, 5% there, it adds up. And, just a relative guess, you might buy $50 US dollars worth of DEC and then only end up with like $40 US dollars of SPS. So, but this is still in place, so you can buy DEC currently, and I was thinking about getting some because I'm going to need some more to stake. That's on the land topic. Kind of going back to the notes from the town hall, like we were talking about earlier, Wasner went live. The partnership with Wasner went live this week. They're a mobile app. I've been interacting with it this week, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like a lot of other social apps. I haven't dug very deep into it, but people are posting. They are encouraging people to post, gameplay, post videos they're making on YouTube, post different things, what they're getting out of chests and things like this. And they have kind of like a sticker thing. You earn points, just kind of like they gamified posting basically. Post, you get a certain amount of feedback, you earn points, you get stickers. And the stickers are linked they want you to link it to a wallet. So in some way, I think they're NFTs, but I'm not 100% certain, and I need really more clarification around that. Gathering says, how much land do you have? Do you have any DECB? I need to pick up more. I have 3 plots of land. I've only claimed 1 so far. I'm reserving 1 to claim it when my brother claims his plot of land, because he only has 1, because I want to have 1 near wherever he has. And I want 1 in the dragon area of the map, just because I'm Ron's dragon. I have 40,000 DEC. 60,000. I have 60,000 DEC. I think that cost me, whatever the math works out to be, I think it cost me 40,000 DEC or something like that. I specifically got that to buy the building in a box. I'm going to buy a building in the box package for each of my lands. And that will take about half of that. And I'm certain there'll be other stuff to use. But I figured that was a good number. They still have DEC DECB is still available for a limited time. Closes the 9th, so you got a week. If you want some, you better buy it this week. If anybody's watching, they're unfamiliar, DEC Batteries, you basically get 20% more from your DEC. So you spend 10,000 DEC, you're going to get 12,000 DEC batteries, and you can extrapolate that out. The batteries can be used on anything in game which require burning DEC. And the burning of cryptocurrency is very, it's basically to push the value of DEC up, and the overall goal is to push the value of DEC as well as SPS up. So the more they get rid of off of the blockchain, theoretically the idea is that the value will go up. So I was thinking about getting some more. I don't necessarily know though. I definitely wanted enough so that I could buy the building in a box for each land. That was my primary purpose. So back on Wasner, I won't talk about it too much more because I don't have a whole lot of more information. Basically, it's marketing. They're trying to bring people in that are traditionally Web 2 players to the Web 3 space. So Gathering says, going to use DECB to buy energy on my $10 account. That would be a good use. I think at the low end, the energy would be a good purchase. As you go up in leagues, I think that the energy buying loses its value. With the price that it costs to buy extra energy in gold and diamond, I don't necessarily think it's worth it. I think that we're all pretty much limited to 24 per day unless you're right on the edge. I could see the value if you're right on the edge and need that extra win to get an extra chest. But you know as well as I do that most times you need that extra win. It takes you like 3 matches to get that one win, and then you end up going down and then back up. And Aggie spoke to that, answered a couple questions on that on the town hall. I rewatched the very end of the town hall just to do a refresher right before this. And he's still fully behind the use of the DEC for the energy because it gets burnt. So back to the point of increasing the value of DEC. So we've been talking about increasing the value of DEC and SPS continually since I've been playing the game, and they've just continually put in steps that theoretically we're going to raise the value. We'll see. Gathering says, I think energy only costing 1 DEC in bronze may be broken. Yeah, I don't think it's scaled correctly. But I also say this, that the value from a guy who played in bronze for quite a while, then moved to silver and played in silver for even longer before I even made it to gold and then to diamond, the value of the chests is much lower in bronze. I mean, you still maintain your percentage chance to get a card. Now now the value in going up in ranks is in leagues rather is the fact that you can get multiple BCX per chest. And I'm telling you, in diamond, the BCX is pretty nice per chest. But I'm still seeing a lot of potions. When we started the multiple BCX thing dropping, I just want to go over here. I was like at 800 of these legendary potions and about 900 of the alchemy potions, and I've had mine set to be used, the potion usage, for all my chests and everything on a daily and season basis, and I just keep going up and up and up. Of course, I'm not a guy that opens a lot of packs of cards, so it's just kind of, this topic's just kind of extrapolated out of the 1 DEC. I think you will see of any of the leagues, the DEC burning for extra energy in bronze will be much higher. And I think, to your point, it stands the chance of being abused. So it would be interesting to see, after this has been live for a few weeks, to go in and look at the percentages of people in bronze and silver, gold, and then diamond and champ, who's actually burning DEC to actually get that extra energy, and then kind of draw some opinions from that. Welcome to my live stream, everybody. Thanks for dropping by. We are going through the show notes from the weekly town hall as a subject. If you have a question, just drop it in the chat and we'll try to get it answered. The next subject was land and the secret of Praetoria. If you are at all interested in land, I would suggest you to go by and read the white paper. The information on land has really been filled out within the last couple months. This is a subject that 2 years ago they were just talking about and just selling the basic lands, but now they're really filling in the information. And I like it. I mean, from the outset, I was really into land. You know, I bought my first land just after they had, sold out, and I've bought a couple other pieces since then. And I was thinking about buying more land until they started talking about how much it would actually cost to run a land. And then I kind of got scared and I pulled back, because running 3 lands is probably going to be enough for me. I'm kind of the guy that likes to have, I'd rather have 5, or I would rather have 10 increments, right? But with all that's going to go into a land to run it, I felt like I should probably just stand back. Also, the fact that most the lands have not been surveyed yet, and they're still all random, which kind of like opening a pack, you could get a great land or you could get a common land, right? But in the future, I'm sure there'll be lands on sale, the plots on sale on the market. Say, for instance, I wanted to go in and just buy 5 common plots of land. Those plots are going to cost much less than the $140 or $50 that they're going for now, right? So it'll be a completely different conversation when those start after they're surveyed and they can hit the market. Hopefully we get a nice land, but with my luck, I'm not really counting on it. But the main point is it's going to cost a lot. And they dropped another piece of information in the town hall, in that if you have a Rooney, we already knew that if you stake your Rooney on the land, that you will not have to have the extra energy source. It counts as an energy source. But they extrapolated, and they also added an extra thing. They're trying to increase the value of the Rooney, right? I don't have a Rooney, and I don't intend on buying one due to the fact that they're on the Ethereum blockchain, and it costs so much to deal with the Ethereum blockchain. I don't. Gathering says, land might be something to pick up now and hold for after everyone rushes to survey. People want more plots in the future to try to get a castle keep legendary. Yes, that's one interesting, but the flip side of that is if this current proposal goes, then holding a land, you're not earning anything on it. If the proposal goes through, let's take a look. Just for the record, I voted against it. Just kind of for your point there, kind of holding for the future. Okay. It kicked me out. If you're new to Splinterlands and you have some questions about what we're talking about, please stop me and insert yourself in chat, and we'll try to get the questions answered. I just wanted to go over to the proposals. Okay, so yeah, so the current proposal is this is intended to be a temporary proposal that would last until the Splinterlands team creates a new proposal that implements that they shared in the Land 1.5 white paper. SPS is designated for distribution to landholders should be distributed only to those who have surveyed their land. So this is them saying that everybody who has land now is getting a certain small amount of SPS, right, airdropped for that ownership. It's not much, right? But what this proposal is saying that after surveying goes live, if you have not surveyed, that's cut off from you. Of course, that means that the people that do survey get a higher rate of return. It's just those other people that are holding out for a future plot of land stop getting. And it's aimed at forcing people to claim their survey their land, claim it and survey it. Gathering says, just like holding packs, land will appreciate in the future. You can't convert singles to sealed for packs, and you can't convert claim to unclaimed for land. That's correct. It's a valid point, right? Yeah, I agree. I generally agree. I think that land will appreciate if the land game turns out to be worth it, be fun. There's a bunch of adjectives you could throw in there, but obviously if the game doesn't take off and people don't like it or whatever, then the value will go in the basket, right? Go in the bin. But Sean says, has anyone joined the Wasner platform? Yes, Sean, I did. I joined when it went live, and I've been posting once in a while, my video links and such, and I will probably continue to do so. Did you join? And here's the Wasner page, the main page. It is an app, but you can go to this page and look. They do have their own token, and you can stake that token, but the main interaction is a mobile app. So Gathering says, what exactly can we do in phase 1 besides survey? Most of the white paper was for phase 1.5. Good point. Yeah, the white paper is really future looking, what their plans are, what the next couple sprints are going to entail as far as what they're developing. As far as I know, it's just surveying. And Sean says, yes, I joined. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm going to be on it all the time, but I probably post a couple times a day or in the morning and evening, because usually during the middle of the day I'm busy at work. So, and it seems like a good location to post links for my videos and stuff like that. Sean, if you're not familiar, I kind of cover Splinterlands from a different point of view than what a lot of other YouTubers do. I'm kind of I don't want to call myself low end, because I am playing, I do have my deck playing in Diamond, but I don't push into Champion right now, and I'm not a guy who spends thousands of US dollars on this game. I mean, if you added up everything over the last couple of years, yeah, I've spent a couple $1,000s, but one of my main things is I got into it and I kind of FOMO'd. Everything that they bring out in the game, they're going to try to FOMO, which means fear of missing out. Try to make you think, oh, I got to buy in on this. Just be careful what you buy in on, and be careful what you spend as far as what your budget allows for. Because last fall, I got in and I was simply just spending too much money, right? So I pulled back, and I allotted myself $25 US dollars per week to spend, which I felt that was kind of a decent number. And on Fridays, I buy something with it in land, whatever it is in game. I usually try to boost the power of my deck and increase the levels of cards and such. And in the past, you can look at my videos, and they go over, my basic idea, and Gathering might be able to put his take on it. Is when you come into the game, you have some, I'm trying to think here, you have some availability now that I didn't have back when I started. Okay, you have a service that's called Nifty Arcade, and this service, I'm not 100% where they're standing, but what they do is they will either rent out or let you use a deck of cards that you can use to play. Okay, that's one service, and I'm not sure if you have to get your name on a waiting list or what goes with that, but it's, if you're new, it's definitely something you can look into. It's nftarcade.io/Splinterlands. I'll leave the link in the show notes if you're interested. But also, the other way that you can get into the game is start playing after you obviously buy the spell book. I do have a line of videos that I'm putting out now that's aimed at new users, so please check it out. It's called the Welcome to Splinterlands series, and I will be filming the next episode the next day or two. But I have 3 episodes now out. I have the basic intro. I have the how to get set up in the game, get logged in securely, and save your various passwords and such. And then the second video is discussing the user interface. The third video is actually going to be what we're talking about now, is getting in and actually starting to play. Sean says, I am using Nifty Arcade deck and it's helping me grow my main. Good idea. Good. Let's talk about. That's something relatively new, and that's something that I did not have access to when I started out. My basic thought process was, first of all, your hand starts with the summoner. Okay, and when you start out, you need at least 2 strong summoners to play 2 strong splinters, right? And then branch out from there. And what you do, or what I did, was, let's go over here to my basic cards. And when you have, sorry, just thinking, let's go to leagues. Okay, so each league has a max level summoner. And my idea is that if you're playing in bronze, the max level summoner is level 2. Okay, so if you want to play in bronze, the first thing you should shoot for is having some summoners at level 2. You're going to want at least 2 summoners, and then branch out until you have all your summoners, 1 for each splinter, at level 2. Okay, now when you're in bronze, you're probably not going to be using dragon much, so you may be able to leave dragon out until you hit silver. Sean says, it's quite simple. I actually have a champ level max Chaos Legion and a rewards deck, including the airdrop summoners like Lily and Astrid. Nice. You're ahead of me. I currently have basically a pretty high level gold deck, and I usually play in diamond. I have not used Nifty Arcade. I do have a secondary account that plays in silver that basically is using some quote-unquote leftover cards I have. So yeah, so if you have a champ level deck, that's really nice. I won't go into my deck building, but basically I started by maxing out my summoners and working from there. Gathering says, the Soulbound summoners have really helped my $10 account. I can use Captain Katie in battles in bronze and almost always win. Yeah, I agree. We can take a look at my secondary account, which is kind of the second, the reason I started it. Whenever they started these Soulbound cards, we were all talking about, and people were doing various videos about it. And Sean says, I don't own it. It's a nifty arcade deck. Yeah. So, I mean, that's really nice. I mean, when I initially heard about the nifty arcade decks, I thought they were going to be low level. Like, it would seem to me that if you were a new player, it would benefit you more if you played in bronze and silver for a while before you jumped into the higher levels, right? But are you having fun in an interesting time with it, Sean? Just getting a little bit of a drink. So this is my secondary account, and I do agree that the Soulbound cards have really helped this deck out. You can see we're like at the end of the third season into the fourth season of Soulbound cards, and most of these on my secondary account are level 2. Perhaps some of them are level 3, and this deck is playing in silver. Sean says they do have many for new players, but also for high level. Okay. Well, my main point was the fact that just like any other game, as you go up, the strategies, the in-game strategies change, and it kind of gets more complicated. Not that I have anything against. I've never played in Champ myself. But I do know that playing in Diamond, even Diamond's high intensity. So Gathering says, my problem with the Soulbound cards is only pulling them at 20% in my bronze chest and not 33. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I've seen that on a few of your videos and see what you mean. You know, RNG, you know what they say. So I haven't been keeping the numbers like you keep the spreadsheet going, keep your numbers. I have not been keeping the numbers. This was my end of season on my main account, and I had 55 chests, and I got a fair amount of cards. And on a daily basis, like yesterday, I've got 5 gold Eternan Bruins, which is a summoner, and 4 Marks Rats. And we can go through here. Oh, that was a scroll. I haven't played in bronze in a while, but I have watched your videos, and I do see that you're pulling below average. So I don't know. Maybe try to get that, try to boost that account into silver. Maybe you'll have better luck. I don't know. As always, the emphasis is trying to get you to, you know, put more money into the game to get better results. Okay, let's go back to our list. We were talking about land. It's good to hear that you're having a good time with that big deck. Sean, I would be interested in knowing after you play it for a few weeks if you are able to actually, how far you're coming as far as using the cards you earn out of the chests to build your main deck and what you're going with. I would say that as you're playing that deck, kind of focus in on what splinters you like playing, what kind of strategies you like playing, what's your best rule sets. Everybody has a different way they like playing, right? And kind of use that to focus in and start building your decks. And you want to start with buying some summoners for yourself. And after, you know, at a certain point, obviously the goal is going to be to stop using the borrowed deck, but you know, keep us aware and let me know how it's going. Just definitely an interesting service. The other thing you have is you can rent cards now, and card rentals are very cheap. Let's go over here to rent. got about 15 minutes left in the cast. If anybody has a subject they want to talk about, let me know now. So I do have a third account that I rent cards out on, but frankly, they're not making a whole lot these days. And it's really surprised me that cards are still going for less than a DEC rental per day when you have to spend a DEC to list them. Sean says, Gathering Magic, they definitely drop more in higher chests. My comparison is between gold, diamond, champ level. Yeah, I agree. I have better luck getting cards on my diamond than I do on my silver. You know, also another thing, and I just thought about this, is the fact that on my silver deck and maybe on your bronze deck, maybe you don't have potions. I don't know. I don't have potions all the time on that to use on every chest. So I do have a few potions built up now. Hey, we have a pack we can open. Let's see what I get. Maybe some feedback on that because I had my speakers on. Not bad, Prismologist. This is actually a really nice pull. Yeah, I'd shifted one pack over here just to kind of demonstrate for people who had never opened a pack. I really like, I'm a big fan of Stitch Leech. I'm a big fan of Silent Shavi. Tarsa is one of those cards that I initially thought was going to be really good, and she is pretty strong, but she's not as used as much as some of the other ones, like Quicks. Don't use Mycelic Morphoid very much. I do throw Prismologist in once in a while on high mana matches. Throw some extra damage in there. But I'm a big fan of Stitch Leech. I mean, as soon as I saw Stitch Leech, I went to like whatever my max level. On my main hand, I know I have it level 8 for Diamond. So, but yeah, I guess my main point was the fact that I don't always have potions to use on this account. And if you're opening daily chests, that definitely helps your... I guess it doesn't help, you know, I'm going to take that back because it doesn't help the amount of cards that drop because your percentage chance is supposed to be the set percentage. These just help if the card actually drops in the chest, it helps what you get, what kind of card you get. Gathering the Magic says, did you see the new updates rolling out on Monday for Splinterforge? New critical strike, rune, and personal battle history. Yes, I read through the notes. I did not give a lot of thought to them. I have been playing Splinterforge. Currently playing against the silver boss. I have seen a lot of changes in this last week because I'm doing more damage than what I did. Gathering says should be 33% for all leagues. I'm just unlucky, I guess. Yeah, but you know what? I think it runs in streaks. But you know, I'm not so sure about that because okay, so I'll explain what I mean. My brother and I talk frequently on a daily basis, and he plays as well, and we'll throw back and forth, you know, what we got out of chess and everything, and it's very similar as far as I'll get a card and it will be a legendary or something once in a while, and he'll get that same legendary card on the same day, or I'll get a pack and he'll get a pack, and it seems that these drops run in streaks. And I'll go like, there was several days last week where I didn't hardly get any cards. I got a lot of SPS. I won't say a lot of SPS. I got a lot of chests that dropped minimal amounts of SPS, right? And then I'll have a day where like they're all cards. So I don't know what to say about that. I guess just RNG, right? My luck is usually not great either. But back on Splinterforge, they have been making some changes, and I will have to look at the change. I read through the changes for next Monday, but I can tell you that the changes he made this last week have resulted in me doing more damage. Now, it might be that versus this silver boss, I have a better character than, say, the last boss. I had to use range, my ranger, and while I have a decent ranger set up, it's not as good as my warrior. So with the mighty chicken, this had return fire, and I had to change around really quickly because I was playing with ranger, and this guy you're going to want either warrior or the mage. So I am having fun. One thing I am noticing in Splinterforge is the fact that the value of Forge just seems to be going in the crapper. I need a couple more regular foil legendary bows. Gathering says, how much Forge do you get per battle for Silver Boss? Do you have any gold gear? Okay, first off, as you can see, I'm ranked 25 currently. And I've been averaging about 20 to 25 Forge, and looking at my I've been averaging probably 350 to 500 damage, somewhere in there with a few spikes. My equipment looks like I switched all my equipment to legendaries. I don't have any gold foil legendaries. I was let's go into gear, but I did switch over, and it took a little bit of time because I'm not dumping. I did dump some cash into the game, but at this time I'm just using what I earn off the matches to improve my gear. Gathering says, I get about 18.5 Forge for Bronze Boss, but I have all rare gold gear. Nice. It's kind of one of those questions you have to kind of average out how much it's going to cost to, improve your gear, depending upon where you want to fight. So currently I'm playing silver, and most of my damage and my shield my shield and my health are maxed out. I still could use a little bit more speed, and I could use a little bit more damage. If I went up to gold, then I would, be lacking a little bit. Yeah, I initially when I went in, I just was trying to stack life. And so I went in with rare rubies, right? And then it's kind of like you need to average out how you got to figure out where you want to put your money at. Let's look at the current Splex. Really, where the money's at is in boots and bows and quivers. Gathering says, I use Splex to buy the pieces of gear I want instead of buying crates and bags. Same here. And it's the same aspect, the same thing in Splinterlands as well, if Sean's still listening. I think it's always been the fact, and I think everybody's pretty much universally agreed that it's better to buy specific cards that you want to improve your hand than it is to buy packs. We all know that it's fun to buy packs, and it's gambling, right? It's the excitement of opening a pack and getting a good piece of gear or a good card, right? But it's specifically better to build your card hand or your deck or collection by buying specific cards off the market than it is buying packs. So, and I agree. And I bought some packs up front for the initial investment period, like last November time frame, I guess it was, to make the Forge through December. But after that, I bought a few more packs, but not a whole lot. I think there are still a lot of packs available. Gathering says, but I will buy cheap commons off Splex to reforge into rares, hoping for golds. Interesting. I have done some reforging. I reforged all my commons at a certain point to get rid of them. My brother has played that game a little bit, but it ends up getting expensive. Obviously, if you find some golds, then it's a good benefit. But it's kind of like buying packs and hoping for legendaries, right? So, but that's also a part of the game that he's changing a lot. So there are changes in store for that. But my main initially, I was stacking life and shield, and then I did go in on my ranger, and I found a decent deal on a bow that had already had two sockets. So now, obviously, you can stack damage runes. So I have a double stacked rare damage on my bow. Gathering says, if I don't get golds, then I reforge the rares into epics. Yeah, it's a valid strategy. I mean, I see where you're going with that. It does end up getting kind of expensive, but it's expensive to buy stuff in the first place, so it's it's just part of the game. But it's interesting to note. Let's see how much boots are going for. So regular foil legendary boots are now going for about $14.50 US, but that is now 45,000 forge. Gathering says, can you imagine if Splinterlands used reforging? You can only get gold foils by combining cards of lower tiers. That would take a lot of common cards and stuff like that off the market, right? But I think that whenever land goes live, and specifically staking cards on land goes live, we're going to see a huge change in the marketplace of cards, because you're going to see a lot of cards bought up and used to stake on land. They've talked about this in a few of their different town halls, and it does sound kind of like pushing FOMO, but it will. If you look at the numbers, how many cards it's required to have a max level card to stake on a land, and extrapolate out to how many lands. I mean, even if half the lands are populated with, maybe a quarter of the lands. If a quarter of the lands are populated with max level character or cards, that's a huge amount of the cards off of the marketplace, and therefore pushing the value and price of the other ones that are on the marketplace, either for sale or rent, up. So, but yeah, going back to your point, yeah, I mean, it would take a lot of cards off the marketplace if you could, reforge them, but that would be a whole nother system they would have to develop, and oh well. We're getting to the end of our show now. I thank you all for stopping by, and I hope to keep this going on a Saturday basis, every Saturday morning. So if you want to talk Splinterlands, stop back by. Otherwise, stop and check my channel during the week, and I will be dropping new videos in that new series for new players, if you're interested. Also, I have the pack opening video that I need to film later today and put out. Otherwise, I appreciate y'all stopping by. I hope your family is happy and healthy, and I will see you on the flip side.